Hello and welcome. Yes, Cheryl, you are first. Welcome, everybody. Going to let everybody kind of settle in here. I want to first and foremost say thank you to all the subscribers that have been subscribing to the channel. If you are watching on Facebook or X, formerly known as Twitter, I encourage you to find your way over to the YouTube channel. I want you to engage with the video. And this is your question of the week: is your your first concert you ever attended? What's the first concert you ever attended? I want to see everybody's answers. And please leave a thumbs up. And for gosh darn sake, if you're not a subscriber, what the heck are you waiting for? All you have to do is hit the subscribe button. Next, you see Proline balls all over my screen. People ask me all the time now about Proline balls. I want to give you two big topics. One, if you're hitting and you want to train to become a better hitter, you're going to have to train versus velocity, whether that's out of a hack attack, a jugs machine, etc. You don't want to use the baseball. You want something that is going to have true ball flight, that's going to have accurate spin, that's going to be safe. So should you foul a ball off or get it in on the hands, you're not hurting your hamate bone, you're not hurting your shin or your ankle or the top of your foot. And then secondarily, you can use these as catchers. You can do drill work with them out of the machine, catch velocity, catch spin. You can also train ground balls. You can do picks at first base. The Proline ball is extremely durable and it works great for every single training dynamic in baseball. So tonight's topic, okay, we get all these people that want to hear about college recruiting. So I'm creating a roadmap for the 2026 through 2029 high school graduates. Now, I know there's some 2030s that hang out there, but I want to let everybody know Coach Beede, Walter Beede is my name. I've been in this industry for over 38 years. I was a former student athlete when dinosaurs roamed the earth. I was a college and high school and college head coach, NCAA Division III. And most of all, I am a parent of two sons, now 35 and 33 years of age. So what I want to ask you as parents is this question. Are you aware that of all of the student athletes that play high school baseball across North America, that only 7.9% will ultimately go on and play college baseball? Are you aware of that? And the other part of this equation is, are you aware that the chances of your student athlete getting a full scholarship are probably not going to happen? And we're going to cover that topic tonight. And I want to encourage you, this is a Q&A. This is live. This is a live Q&A. Please, if you have a question, please drop it here in the box. I will answer it for you. Now, today, I want to talk about the ownership of your process. So we as parents really are a defensive mechanism, and we try at all costs to protect our children. I won't say we put bubble wrap around them, but we do everything in our power to try and eliminate pain. We try to keep a smooth sailing ship. But whether we are the greatest parents known to man, we cannot control all of the ancillary things that go on in life, whether that's away when they're at school, whether they're away on a trip, an athletic event. There's no script with life. Life is going to happen. Time is moving on with or without us, unfortunately. And so what I try to get parents to understand is taking ownership of the process is the first foundational piece of college recruiting. So college recruiting is different for every single athlete. The days of like this, okay, if my son can do this, this, and this, this guy went to this school, so therefore my son should be, it doesn't work that way. Coaches take ownerships of their roster and their evaluation process for current and future student athletes, and you as families must begin to take ownership. What does that mean? Okay, we don't need to be reliant on instructors, travel ball coaches, outside influences that are basically reading from a script. Like, hey, I work with football players, soccer players, softball players, I work with track players. Okay, every sport is different, and baseball is really unique in the sense that basketball, football, uh, they girls softball, girls lacrosse, women's and girls sports, they have a full allotment of scholarships. Baseball does not. So you have to understand that there is a finite number now with the cap of openings every single year. So if you take ownership, meaning I'm going to learn as much as I can about this process, I am going to take all of my desirables, i.e., geographics, academics, cultural, social, and athletics, and I'm going to see what schools fit those parameters. That's beginning to take ownership. And you, at that point, have firmly established that you are the captain of your cruise ship. And so you must begin to understand that's where the process starts. So whether you're a freshman or a sophomore in high school or a junior and senior in high school, so the junior and senior, you're not too late. The freshman and sophomore, it's not your time. So let's start with the freshman and sophomore, and we'll work our way up to the junior and senior. Freshman and sophomore parents, I'm going to say this as delicately and as politely as possible. Anytime that you're on social media, inevitably there is going to be someone that is going to tell you that more games is better. More games, more lessons, more is better. Okay. What you have to begin to understand is if I am a high school player, and whether I play freshman or JV as freshmen and sophomores, you have a high school season, whether it's abbreviated or not. But you are either going to start baseball in January and February or March or April here in the Northeast, and you're going to play for 8 to 10 weeks of high school. And then you are going to have your summer season. Now, for some, it's American Legion. I applaud those that do still look into the American Legion programs. And then for some of you, it is travel baseball. At the completion of that summer season, there is a decision that must be made, especially from a freshman and sophomore perspective. And that is, I need to begin to work my body and I need to begin to learn time management, daily routine, daily disciplines, etc. You have to begin to accept this concept. I need to work my weaknesses and hone my strengths. You have to address your weaknesses. Where are you weak? Is foot speed an issue? Is arm strength an issue? Is skill set an issue? Do I have any versatility? Meaning, I want to tell myself I'm a shortstop, but I don't have great foot speed. So I might have to begin to take ground balls at second or third, really third. So as a freshman and a sophomore, we have to take ownership of how are we as a student athlete? When are we going to begin a what I would call rigorous attention to strength, size, and speed and skill? And how do I create a program that basically begins, let's call it mid to late July at latest, and then work that all the way through January? If you're not doing that as freshman and sophomore, and you're chasing, there's no one recruiting freshman and sophomore. I want to repeat, no one is recruiting freshman and sophomore. No one is recruiting or evaluating eighth graders or seventh graders. That's a news flash. That's a fact. It's not my opinion. It is at those years where critical development needs to begin to occur. And if you bypass that and try to play catch up as a junior or senior, you're not going to find any room at the inn when you're trying to knock on that proverbial door. So I would say to you, as far as the guidelines for the path for the 28s and the 29 student athletes, and let's throw 2030 in there, I want to tell you that what needs to be done is you need to have a plan. You need to know and have identified the weakest parts of your student athlete. Do they need size? Do they need strength? Do they need speed based on the position? Do they need skill enhancement? What are they weakest at? And how do I address that? And how do I turn that potentially into an average or above average? Meaning, if I'm 155, I know I need to get to 185. That cannot happen in a year. By and large, it can't happen in a year. Are there exceptions? Yes, there are exceptions. There are great student athletes at younger ages, and everybody thinks they're going to be great. Some of them do, in fact, end up great, but others, they don't work to address the weaknesses. They just kind of focus in on what they do really well, and they sit in that area of, this is what I love to do, I'm good at this, and they never look beyond those things. Now, let's also add, with regard to the freshmen and the sophomores, the value of the transcript. I can't scream this any louder by saying to you, your transcript begins as freshmen. You can't go back and try to, okay, I got a 2.8, but I'm going to play catch up when I'm a junior and senior, and I'm going to get my GPA way up. And you don't almost have a 3.0. And that's the other thing that I never really understand. You have to have a 3.0 in order to become a 3.0 or higher. So as a freshman, as a sophomore, your grades matter. Don't try to overstep your bounds and take an AP class or an honors class because you think it's going to help with your strength of your weighted GPA. Make sure you're taking classes that you are comfortable, confident, and really ready to compete in to get those A's and B's. Strive to have a good transcript right out of the gate. Grades get you money that is for 4 years that will follow you for all 4 years. And so as a freshman and as a sophomore in high school, be a student, be an athlete, be both. Focus on both. Not only are you trying to build size, speed, strength, skill, school really, really matters. Next, community service, it really helps. But when it comes to scholarship money in the future, you're going to get a lot of money allocated to you as a student athlete if the student portion of that name is, you're fulfilling everything that you needed to do. Don't get all hung up on the test scores. Don't get hung up on the AP and the honors. Strive to be the best student that you're capable of being. Try to make sure you're putting 1 to 2 hours a day with regard to study, with regard to being proactive with writing papers. Don't be that guy that's the procrastinator. Try to understand good habits will build into better habits as you get older. Next, for every single parent and student athlete that finds their way to this video tonight, stop chasing anything with the word velocity in it. Exit velocity, arm velocity, third base, across the diamond. Stop chasing velocity. As freshmen and sophomores, don't go out and try to be Superman. Your body is in massive growth mode. I want you to understand strength, size, speed. Allow each day to be one individual brick that you are building that is a 4-year project, so that every single day you know you've put one brick down in the foundation of your future. If you simply approach every single day as, today, I'm just going to make sure I put another brick out there. By the time you're a senior in high school, your whole foundation is built and you're ready to put anything on top of that. Anything from a college academic to a to a routine, athletic endeavor, meaning when I say a routine athletic endeavor, going to the weight room after class, going to the weight room as you get up in the morning, going for a morning run, you've already built a great foundation. Now you can kind of take that to the next level. Being a freshman and sophomore in high school, it is not embarrassing to play JV or freshman. You are not entitled to be a varsity athlete because you play on the super duper platinum elite prospect team. Your high school coach has a process. Whether you like it as a parent, you like it as a student athlete, the bottom line is respect. If that coach has been hired by that athletic director or by that superintendent, whether you think he's quality or not, I want you to understand that that high school coach deserves your respect. And if he says you're going to play JV, I'm going to go be the best JV player I can be. Are you happy about it? Maybe not. But guess what? You're going to get an opportunity to play every day, and you're going to be the best that you're capable of being because you want to put another brick down. Next, I want you to understand college coaches now more than ever are basically doing a slow progression within evaluation of process. Camps, showcases, you are much better off at the 8th grade, 9th grade, and 10th grade levels to spend your time in a training environment during the summer than you are trying to go and play 100 games. Playing a Legion schedule of 20 games, a high school schedule of 20 games, that's 40 games. In college at the Division I level, they play 56. In college, they may play 45 to 50 Division III. Same with Division II. JUCO is a lot more aggressive with their fall. But my point is, most 14, 15, and 16-year-olds are still growing into their bodies. They can't handle the workload of 60 to 100 games. So for all those people out here screaming at me, you don't know what you're talking about. We play a 100-game schedule from May and through October. You know how hard it is to play 100 games? It's hard. It causes stress on your body. Talk to the guy who is a catcher, and being a catcher, and you're catching 60 games a year or 50 games a year. It's hard. Your body's trying to grow. You're not sleeping properly. There's no strength training anywhere. You're living out of a hotel room. You're not getting proper nutrition, and you want to be a big-time college baseball player. So begin to understand that the 8th, 9th, and 10th grade year should be your massive foundation years. Play your 40-game schedule, play local, have a routine that mirrors what college baseball is, which is lighter in season, heavier off season. Get your sprint work in, have somebody do that, intake evaluation or that movement screen. But that is it in a nutshell for the 8th, 9th, and 10th graders that are the 28, 29, and 30 classes. Now let's I want parents to understand this is a Q&A. I don't have fancy boards. I don't have pointers. I don't have high-tech backgrounds that flash all these things behind me. I don't have a script. So if you have a question, I want you to ask. Francisco, thank you very much. Turn 2 Mets. Okay, turn 2. As a 28, is it worth to attend a local college camp late fall? Okay, 28s. I said this last week. I just want to make sure I don't try to repeat myself. I know that I do. But if you are a 28, a parent of a 28, a 29, or a 30, if you're looking at camps as more of a learning experience, learning what practices look like, learning how coaches instruct, really it's going to be part of my junior and senior. But camps are okay if you're using it as a learning experience. If you think you're going there from a recruiting perspective, not really. I would not go there with those expectations. How you view the camp is going to determine whether you should attend, meaning you might not think, and maybe you're not capable of going to a Vanderbilt camp, but Tim Corbin is a tremendous mentor. Brian O'Connor is a tremendous mentor. Chris Pollard, a tremendous mentor. Steve Holm, a tremendous mentor. These are great people. You go to their camps. Jeff Willis at LSU Eunice, Dusty Hart at Blinn. All of these coaches, Butch Thompson at Auburn, all of these coaches are great mentors that you want your children, your student athletes, to learn from, to see the polish and to see the professionalism of how they instruct and how they coach. So if you feel like that is an enhancement to the learning curve for your student athlete, camps are definitely a good opportunity. From a recruiting perspective, I strongly suggest that you wait until your junior or senior year, preferably your rising senior fall, summer, or fall, and then go to their camps from a recruiting perspective. You know, if you're like in this year's case at 27, going to a college camp, if you are of size, strength, speed, and skill, and you feel like you have a viable skill set that is college caliber, then you absolutely want to go to a camp. I want to re-emphasize, I have a question here that came in, and I want to just say to people, and I'm going to include myself in this, parents get pulled in a myriad of different directions. We're told, do this because it's going to help your student athlete. Do that because it's going to help your student athlete. I teach my hitters to hit like this. I teach my hitters to do that. I teach my pitchers. Let me ask you a question. If someone really had the ultimate hitting technique or the ultimate pitching technique, I promise you with every fiber of my being that the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, the Giants, the Astros, somebody would pay that person a lot of money to turn out Aaron Judges, to turn out Jacob deGroms, to turn out, Max Scherzers, or, any of these elite high-throwing guys. There's no such animal. We are all individuals. We all have thresholds where it's no different than an engine, that if that engine is redlined for an extended period of time, it's going to blow, there's a spark plug, a rod, something is going to blow out. And we are trying to tell young athletes, exit velocity off of a tee matters. And I get emails up the chucha from parents telling me my son's exit velocity off of a tee is 98. The good news is that's awesome. The bad news is there's no such thing as hitting a baseball off a tee in a game. So if you're not hitting moving ball, the exit velocity is not really significant. So please, for the love of goodness, just teach bat to ball skills and just try to punish baseballs. And when I say punish baseballs, within an athletic swing, throwing. My son got hurt trying to chase velocity. My son threw 98 to 99 miles an hour and everybody wanted him to throw harder. He got cut from Team USA because he didn't throw hard enough, and he threw 91 to 93. Velocity, the vast majority, and I want parents to understand this is a study. You can go look this up on Google, Grok, Chat GPT, whatever you want. The number of injuries before the age of 15 in baseball is an epidemic. It's an epidemic. Baseball treats arms like they're disposable. Like, oh, you go get a Tommy John surgery and voila, you're going to come back throwing harder than ever. And parents wear it like a badge of honor. I can tell you right now, mentally, when you have to get a Tommy John surgery, it's not fun on the young men. It's not fun. Whether they're a child, a teenager, or an adult, Tommy John is no fun. There is no guarantee. So for the love of goodness, put the velocity away. Learn how to throw accurately. Learn how to play competitive catch. A college coach will watch your son play catch and be as impressed as if he went out and made a ESPN top 10 play. If your son knows how to move his feet, center his body, transfer the ball in and out of his glove, and make a strong and accurate throw, I'm going to tell you right now, that's going to be so much more significant than trying to take a running step from shortstop and trying to blow it by the first baseman. You're going to do more damage long term. You might look good today, but tomorrow there's going to be that ache in the elbow. There's going to be that ache in the elbow. And while I'm at it, when things that grind my gears, for the love of goodness, stop at the 8th grade, 9th grade, and sophomore year. Do not listen to any coach that tells you that your student athlete is a pitcher only, is a first baseman only, is a shortstop, is a second baseman. You're a baseball player. See the game. If you're left-handed, outfield, first base, maybe pitching. If you're right-handed and you're a left-handed hitter, that's awesome. But learn to play the positions, meaning if I'm a middle of the diamond guy as a young guy, I don't have the foot speed required to play center field or shortstop or second base, which is basically 6'7". If I don't run a 6'7", 60 as a teenager, I might have to go play third. I might have to be a right fielder. I might have to be a left fielder. Or God forbid, you might have to be a catcher. Catchers are really good athletes, oh, by the way. So don't be pigeonholed and don't tell yourself, I'm just a shortstop. Shortstop is one of 8 other position players. And when coaches have to make roster decisions, they're going to look for the best athletes and move them accordingly. So notice the term best athletes, not best shortstop. Outfield now is fast outfields, whether you're right fielder or left fielder. Infielders, I want all my infielders to be former shortstops. That's just a fact. Be an athlete, be versatile. Now, I've been sending video, posting on Blue Book and other platforms, following a workout nutrition plan, attending camps and showcases, and yet to get very far in the recruiting process. What else can I do? Okay, now, Billy McGuirk. Oh, William. William, welcome aboard, William. I didn't know you were watching this tonight. Thank you, sir. Miss you, Captain. I want to let Jackson know as we go into the junior and senior year, the path to college. Here is where the rubber begins to hit the road. Have to have a plan. So the number one thing is we want to start to understand the emailing or the contact process of being proactive. We don't want to be reactive, meaning, okay, you've gone to these showcases, you've gone to these camps. Have you put together a plan? Okay, I like these schools because academically they fit, they're geographically desirable, they have my intended area of academic study. And what I want parents to know is I've addressed this before. The college experience, my buddy Billy and I have talked about this many, many times. The world doesn't need more meaningless college degrees. What the world really needs is to allow children to grow up and grow into who they want to become. College is a part of that process. And over and above the academic, and in our case, the athletic piece, college is about learning heartache, disappointment, stress, struggle, growing up, recognizing that the rocket booster of childhood is breaking off and we are becoming adults and we are getting older. We have responsibilities. We have accountability. We have to understand that much of what we do in our life, we have to be taking the initiative. And this really begins at the junior year in high school. It's the hardest year academically as a high school. It's the hardest in college as well, the junior year. You want to begin to get proactive and say to coaches, much like I said last week, hi, my name is Jackson Healy. I'm a middle infielder at Acton Boxborough, and I recently attended a showcase that you were at, and I feel that I have the academic as well as athletic skill set necessary to play at a school within your conference. I happen to like Assumption. It's in the Northeast 10. It's in Worcester. I feel that I have the skill set. I would like to have a discussion with you or a member of your staff to properly introduce myself and put a transcript and a video in there. Boom. Now, here's the magic, where the magic happens, is the subject line. So many parents write these emails for their student athletes, and that's not a good, they can be read right in the subject line, and a college coach is going to know if mom or dad wrote that. So what you want to put in there is Jackson Healy, next future Greyhound 2027. That's going to get opened. Jackson Healy, future Greyhound. That's the Assumption Greyhound. That's the mascot. Um, you want to put something in that subject line that is unique to Jackson Healy. Elite middle infielder, future Greyhound, question mark. Oh, I gotta open that. So, in other words, if you're proactive and you send out a bunch of emails, and I don't want you to send 100, I want you to send 5 to 10. And I want you to give that email a week to 10 days and then follow up with, to the same coach, knock, knock, Jackson Healy here, or something creative. Acton Boxborough, middle infielder, knock, knock. He's going to get a chuckle. I forgot to get to Jackson. He sent me an interesting email, or he has a transcript. Also, in your original email, put 3 references. Say, here's my high school coach's number and email. Here's my travel coach, if there's a travel coach. Here's a professional scout, or here's someone that I work with, Walter Beede, 508-614-8654. Okay. Hey, I know Walt. Let me give Walt a call. If he knows Jackson, he'll give me a scoop. Or I know that high school coach. Let me give that coach a call. Let me see what he says about Jackson. So we have to be proactive. The next thing in the junior class that you have to understand is they want to know not what you've done. And Billy will back me up if you're still watching, Bill. Billy and I were parents in a youth basketball tournament, and I'm going to call him Thurston Howell III, was there, and he was at Governor's Academy, and he was a academic liaison to Yale University. And while we were talking, we asked him, well, what is that like? He says, well, when I'm interviewing parents or student athletes specifically, I want them to tell me not what they've done at their high school. I want them to tell me what they're going to do with a degree from my school. What are they looking forward to doing that's going to make us or make you a proud alum of our university? I also want to know, tell me the teacher that gave you the B- that you had to really work hard to get that B- and you really went above and beyond to pull yourself up from that C or C+ into that B-. I want that type of letter from a teacher. Don't give me the letter of recommendation from the teacher that you get A's in. I want to know where you're really busting butt. And so when you think about this is what makes you the individual. So these are the types of letters of recommendation. These are the types of concepts in your mind. Tell them why you want to be an Assumption Greyhound. Tell them why you want to be, at Stonehill or Merrimack or any other school across the country. This is important because you're taking and you're showing initiative. You're showing a college coach initiative. You're not talking exit velocity. You're not talking foot speed. You're talking about college as a whole, and that separates you. Now, I've said this before. I want to say this again. You as parents and you as a student athlete want specific schools. Well, I want to go to BC. Well, I want to go to Vanderbilt. Well, I want to go to, Harvard. The problem is that there is a finite number of spots. So it's not where you want to go. It's where can you go, what schools are a reach, what schools are attainable, and what schools are safety net schools. Because in today's world of college athletics, everything is a JUCO. Everything is looked at as a JUCO. 5 years of eligibility probably coming into play. So if you look at any school, there's a campus in Webster, Massachusetts, Nichols College. And they've had athletes go to UConn and Boston College. The vast majority of you that find your way to this video tonight, you probably have never heard of Nichols College. It is a great business school, great. And Coach Mayo, great staff, beautiful campus. In fact, the Joe Namath football camp has been there or used to be there for 35, 40 years. But my point to you is every school now, in some way, shape, or form, can be viewed as a JUCO. I'm not an advocate of that. I believe in putting down roots and having a great college experience. Juniors and seniors, less than 0.1%. Let me say this slowly. Less than 0.1% of high school baseball players will become major league athletes. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. We have players from Latin America. We have players from Asia. We have players from Australia, Canada. This is a fact. There are only 700, 800 major league baseball players. So I need you to understand college baseball, for the vast majority, or the remaining 99 and 9/10, that's it. That's where baseball comes to an end. Now, you may be a professional, you may have professional aspirations. I just want you to understand the major league draft by 2026 and 2027, probably going down to 10 or 15 rounds, probably going to do away with short A and just have an A ball, double A, triple A, big leagues. If you look at the major league draft over the last 3 years, 75 to 80% of the draft picks were Division I baseball players. I don't know why, I don't know how, but when there's less athletes leaving college and there's a whole bunch trying to come into college, something's got to give. And who are you going to err on the side of, the 23 to 25-year-old or the 18 to 19-year-old? And these college coaches, they have a job. And it's nothing personal, and everybody loves these college coaches until they fill out the lineup card. And then the 35 guys that are on the roster, really only 9 of them like them because there's only 9 that can go between the lines. So if you're a junior and senior in college, in high school, you need to be proactive with your email list. Financial aid, you need to start planning for that. College is expensive, viciously expensive. You need to exhaust, and you need to go into your college guidance office, and you need to explore every single merit grant, Pell Grant, scholarship that your local Elks gives away, your local Knights of Columbus. You want to apply for any and all scholarship. Here is a tip for watching tonight's video. And if you hear this tip, make sure you share your first concert wherever you went. I need you to engage with this video. When you get a financial aid award letter, you want to accept an appeal. And 90% of the time, you're going to get 10% minimum additional money. I explain it this way. If 1,000 students get accepted to school A and they give 1,000 applicants financial aid and only 500 end up accepting, that means 500 financial aid forms get put back into the Beede, and it gets reallocated. So you always want to accept and appeal the financial aid offers, and that way you'll get more money. There's a tip for watching Coach Beede tonight. Next, make sure you're doing some form of community service as your junior and senior years approach. Doesn't have to be painful, but you do want to have something that you can put into your resume, your transcript, that shows that you have, you've performed some community service, you've taken an initiative, to help better your community or your school or your faculty, lounge, whatever it might be. From a baseball perspective, now as a junior and senior, now is the time to begin to gain clarity. What are you doing really well, and what do you need work on? Meaning, you need somebody, and I say this to parents all the time. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I am not going to blow smoke. I am going to tell you what you need to hear when you need to hear it. In your junior year, you need to really begin to seriously address all the deficiencies. I can tell you right now, I've gone to all kinds of showcases and all kinds of camps, and to a man, every single college coach, if there's, for every 100 athletes that attend camps, showcases, tournaments, put them all together, 90% aren't even in the mix. They're not even drawing an eyelash in their direction. They're not physically appealing. They don't have speed. They don't have strength. They're not impacting a game, a baseball, or a play. They don't have the skill, the size, the strength, or the speed. They don't have it. And if you don't have it as a junior, or more importantly, as a senior, you're not suddenly going to be able to take a whole bunch of protein powder or creatine and swallow it all and try to become Superman. By your junior year, you need somebody that looks your son or your daughter in the eye and say, you need to address your foot speed. You need to address your strength, your size. You're 175, 6'1", 175. You need to be as close to 200 as you can. You need to be stronger. You need to be more skilled. Don't chase velocity when you can be working towards strength. Don't don't chase the T, hitting velocity off a T when you can't hit spin, when you can't recognize spin. You have to have an idea of who and what your student athlete is capable of becoming, and then work towards that goal. And that is why now more than ever, the number one growing industry in youth baseball, youth sports, there's an $84 million academy going into central Massachusetts. Why? Because youth sports are going to demand extra years of high school, not just baseball, not just softball, because college coaches want better talent. The game wants more talent between the lines. The older players create better games: football, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, baseball, softball. These academies are popping up everywhere. IMG was sold to Perfect Game. Perfect Game also owns NCSA. Perfect Game also owns apparel companies, equipment companies, tournaments. They own travel teams, travel organizations. It's a business. Business. Nothing personal, just business. When your student athlete graduates from high school, that next sixth grader, seventh grader is entering, and they're riding the escalator all the way to the top. And then it's perennial. As a junior and senior, you have to understand, what is my ceiling? What is my floor? Do I have the ability to play as a college athlete? What level am I capable of playing? NAIA baseball. I've been saying this for 4 years. Suddenly people are coming out of the wordworks like it's an epiphany. And oh, by the way, NAIA is unbelievable. No kidding. Lee University, Lance Sawatsky. I could give you a million names that have played NAIA. They give away great academic packages. It's extremely affordable. And oh, by the way, extremely talented. Has anybody seen what Dave Serrano has done with Johnson University in just 2 years? He gets players in Knoxville, Tennessee, at a small NAIA school from the West Coast, from Florida, from Texas, from Mississippi. The Cumberlands, Brad Shelton. There may not be a better human breathing this on this earth than Brad Shelton, who's been doing this for 30 years. NAIA, best kept secret. You can go work out for their programs there as a junior and a senior. You can go practice and participate with their team. They have no rules or regulations with regard to recruiting. So if you're a parent and you want to know where your son or daughter stand with regard to the junior and senior year, go to an NAIA practice and jump in. See if you belong. See if you fit. And that correlates to one of my final points, which is juniors and seniors, get yourself to a college baseball practice in the fall, a college scrimmage, Division I, Division II, Division III, JUCO. I don't care. Go watch a practice. It's the most underperformed part of this whole process by so many parents, by so many athletes, because you're being led like a hook in your mouth by recruiting services that are just email bombing. You need to get and sit your rear end in a stadium watching, or at a field and watching that team practice. See the talent. How do you stack up? Listen to the coaches. How are they disseminating information? You should be able to see yourself on that campus. Take a tour, walk around. What is the campus like? These are the things that must be done not like if I can get time. If you're trying to get to a college and you think you're a Division I player, go park yourself at a Western Kentucky practice. Go park yourself at Murray State, Wright State. Go park yourself at Lafayette, Lehigh, Fordham, Bucknell, Holy Cross. Go watch the talent. The Patriot League Player of the Year at Holy Cross. First name is CJ, junior, 5'9", 205 pounds, outfielder. He was a third baseman in high school. I just want you to understand, it's not all 6'3", 6'4", but they are big, they are strong. They are strong. Big doesn't just mean height. Big means right here. Want. As a junior and senior, I'm going to wrap this up by saying, how bad do you want it? Mom and dad cannot do anything to get you between the lines at the college level. Let me repeat, no matter how much mom and dad want it for you, if you don't want it as bad or much, much more than your parents, it's not going to work. It will not work. You have to, if you get knocked down, you got to stand back up. If you get punched in the face, you got to get up and want to punch somebody in the face. You strike out 3 times and you have a 4th at bat with the bases loaded and your team is down by a run, you better get in there like you're 3 for 3 and you're ready to hit a piss missile into right center for the game-winning hit. This is about want. You must want college baseball. College baseball does not need elite major league prospect from the all prospect team, high school All-American. I can tell you countless stories of high school All-Americans that never did anything in college because they were so hung up on the ranking that they thought like the road was just going to part, like in a Jim Carrey movie where the cars just part and you just find the perfect parking spot. You have to want it. You have to want to work for it. Let's see. You're not going to get a lot of coaches, Jackson, on the phone. You need to begin to take. You don't want to throw money at camps. Don't throw money at you. Here's the number one thing I want parents to understand. Whether it's me, somebody else, I really don't care who it is. What I do with families is I am a consummate consultant. I am Liam Nielsen. I have an elite set of skill sets that I have gained the trust and the respect from coaches that they will call me and I can call them and they trust me and I trust them. I don't ask them to do me a solid, bruh. I don't ask them to do me a favor, bro. I'm not that guy. I know how to evaluate talent and I know the process. And I trust and believe in my skill sets to help your athlete. And I can tell you that camps, showcases, and tournaments do not ensure. And when I had a question this week, I'll answer it here again. When I say results don't matter, obviously coaches want to see athletes that can handle themselves in a competitive environment. But they also want to see your athlete fall and fail. What's the body language say? Because the body language speaks volumes. Because every athlete is going to be humbled. You either have been humbled or you're about to be humbled. That's just a stone cold fact. So when a coach sees your athlete 0 for 3, but come up in that 4th at bat and take accountability, and he shows some resiliency and some resolve, and he, grabs his shirt and he gets in the box and he competes. Whatever the result, he gave it his all. So parents, I've said this before, I've said this again. College recruiting, it's about 3 things. And if you don't have that, you will not find a place within college baseball. Effort, attitude, routine, your ear. You have 2 of them. If you don't take accountability for your effort, for your attitude, and you have to have a routine. not the instructor's routine, not the travel team's routine, not your high school's routine. The individual athlete has to have a routine, a sense of discipline, a sense of time management. That's the key to this process. So I have broken this down. Don't wait, Jackson, for college coaches to call you. Don't go to showcases. They're meaningless with regard to you getting a college coach to be active with you. You're a good player, Jackson. You're going to play in college. You need to start to understand what level of college you're going to be able to fit into and get yourself up that ladder. You have to start, no matter what part of the ladder you think you should be at. Guess what? Everybody starts at the first rung of the ladder. Everybody does. It doesn't matter whether they're a high school All-American or the fifth. I could tell you story after story of boys that didn't play a lot in high school that played Division I college baseball. Keep working, Jackson. Absolutely true. Michael Brooks, yes. Noah from NAI was drafted by the Blue Jays. No joke, 97 mile an hour fastball. That's what Tyler talks about at the Den. JD. Now, Karen Pilata. Okay, you're watching. Boys of Summer, Billy. That was the best years of my life, Captain. JD, if you're a Den person, and I'm going to end my night by talking. For those of you that may not be familiar, I'm just going to share a quick abridged version. My son was a first-round draft pick out of high school. I got literally lambasted. I'm the only one in a family of maybe 20, as well as an advisor, agent, that was trying to tell my son, you should sign. You can always go to college. You can always go to college. He turned down a significant amount of money. And I felt that the college experience was that meaningful and that significant in his life. For 3 years, I lived in sheer terror of making the ultimate faux pas as a parent, meaning not allowing my son to make an independent decision. But he asked me point blank, Dad, what should I do? And this was at 11:45 p.m. and the deadline was at midnight. Yes, he went on to have a good college career, but he wore brutal social media arrows, the likes of which the scum of the scummiest of the earth would throw down upon. And it was a real heavy load for a then 17-year-old, 18-year-old, and 19-year-old to carry for 3 years. Did I make the right decision? Will I ever get that money? Should I ever come to school? Will I ever be a big leaguer? And that was tough. That was tough. And I can just tell you, if you're fortunate enough to be around someone, I wish I was as tough as my son Tyler. I wish I was as patient as my son Tyler. I wish I was as strong of a man of faith as my son is. If you're lucky enough to spend time at the Lion's Den in Porter, Texas, whether it's talking to Tyler, whether it's talking to Matt Tabor, any of the coaches at the Lions Den, you're getting so much more than just pitching instruction. You're getting so much more than just baseball instruction. You're getting to be around athletes that have lived the sport at its best, but most of all, at its absolute most painful. And there is a life lesson to be learned. And I am proud of the man that both my sons have become, but very proud of who Tyler became. He escaped the identity of baseball. Tyler Beede is an educated man. He is a graduate of a prestigious academic institution. He now has the academic capability to start his own business, to execute a game plan, to be a dad, to be a spouse. And if you're a young student athlete or you're a parent that's taking your son to a facility such as the Lions Den, I encourage you to just leave your sons there and let them immerse themselves in those life lessons, those tiny little nuggets that are shared between mentor and student athlete. And I try to provide that when I'm working with families. I try to provide that on these types of um, episodes. Doing an hour long presentation like this absolutely kills my YouTube channel because of the retention. But for those of you that find your way to the very end, let me simply say this. Every week, I simply tried to provide you hope. I tried to provide you insight, information, so that you can create a plan, your plan, not someone else's plan, so that you can take with my help, little bit of help, and I give it away. And I get so many people that tell me, Walt, you should just be quiet and you should do this. This guy doesn't do it. That guy doesn't do it. That guy. And I had a parent say to me today, you don't charge enough. This guy, I'm going to go to that guy because he charges me this and his service has got to be better. Okay, no problem. But I will tell you this. There is not one person, not one, in the industry that I'm in that's doing this at this level from a total collective experience. Now, there are people that are major leaguers. I've never even sniffed a major league locker room. I'm not my son. But I can tell you, when it comes to the process, when it comes to the execution of the process, and when it comes to evaluation, I know what this industry looks like, smells like, feels like, and I know what it takes to get there. That I know. When I can pick up a phone and somebody on the other end picks up, hey, Walt, I was just going to give you a call. I appreciate you taking the time. I have this guy that I'm going to have to probably let go. There's not a lot of room for him. I'm wondering if you can help him in the portal. That gives me peace of heart, because if it's good enough for that college Division I coach, then it's certainly good enough. I'm doing a service. I'm doing something right. So I encourage you to leave me a thumbs up. I encourage you to subscribe. That's free. All that's free. Encourage you to engage with the video. Please, if you're on X, formerly known as Twitter, you're on Facebook, just go to the YouTube, just write a comment. My first concert was Boston at Manning Bowl. My first concert was the Beach Boys, Manning Bowl. I grew up in Lynn, Mass. That's where Manning Bowl is. Foghat, Civic Center, Fitchburg, Wallace Civic Center. Just engage with the video. I appreciate this week. We're going to have College Coach on Thursday. I encourage you to watch a College Coach. If you want to send me an email, I love when I get emails. Walter@CoachBeede.com. The Baseball Blue Book. Baseball Blue Book. Create your app. Let's get a profile. Let's get an evaluation. Just had a coach, Division III coach, landed a pitcher from the Baseball Blue Book. We put that out and the coach called me, asked me if I knew the pitcher, and I told him I did. So the Baseball Blue Book, free. Just create a profile. It's it can be one of many profiles. You can never have enough profiles in today's world. If you're a team, create a team locker room. If you're a trainer or instructor, create a profile, put it out there, let people know where you're from. I thank you. I want you to have a great rest of your summer. School for some has arrived, but if you're an underclassman, I hope you take my advice. If you're a junior or senior, you have time. You have time. Be proactive. Have a plan. Until next Tuesday, have a great week in baseball.